But I felt like I could have benched 375 for a max today, just based upon that set. Just walked in and just hit it. But when I went to do the pump work, there's nothing left. So I'm like, let me just go in and do these band press downs, pretty much sets to failure. And here's something we can talk about with these. Yeah, obviously with some of these, as I'm really fatigued, as I get into multiple sets, I am not actually locking. A lot of these I do lock, and people don't realize that. Number one, the thing jerks really fast. Number two, that is kind of as far as I can lock. Now some of these are not. But here's the thing to think about. When this has come up, people need to remember, number one, band work. What are we doing? We're using it to build tendons, number one, and it's going to build tendons in what we're doing. All right, number one. Number two, since when has the shortened position of any exercise ever determined its hypertrophic principles in the lab? Doesn't. In fact, triceps are one of the muscles that when they're tested for half reps, they see just as much hypertrophy on half rep as full reps. It is one of the muscles that is definitely an exception, just because of the power of that lengthened position. Okay. Well, what's happening? Do I have the lengthened position? We're doing the full lengthened position. What we're essentially hitting is a point where the lockout gets too intense because of the accommodating resistance once we're fatigued, and we can't complete it. But here's the thing. We're getting the most effective part of the rep, which is the stretched part, right? Part where your elbow is bent. And we're getting a stretch reflex because we're hitting the ends of it and then it's jerking it back towards that stretched position. All right, this is actually a very powerful stimulus. And anyone who's done these, and again, when I say this, I don't mean intentionally doing a short rep, because I'm actually not doing it on purpose. So that's the difference. Understand that. I am hitting to the point to where it restretches and jerks me back down. Okay? I'm actually hitting a point in it where it's jerking me back down on each rep. So I'm not actually saying, hey, I'm going to come in and do a half rep. I'm actually attempting to do the full rep. So understand the difference. So what ends up happening? We get jerked through a stretch reflex into that movement. And anyone who's done these like this and done a set to failure, if you don't understand what I'm talking about and you've never tried these, come in and grab a set even with heavier bands like that and take a set to failure if you've never done these, and then see what happens to your triceps a minute later. If you've never done these before, your tricep may cramp so hard that you can't function. You'll also find them possibly cramping later that day. So anyone who wants to argue it's not an effective training stimulus, well, you've got another thing coming. Now, keeping in mind, I do skull crushers most weeks right now too. We do the skull crushers through their entire range of motion on the free weight exercise. Okay. Keep in mind, I did 3 sets of them earlier this week to almost failure. So we're getting that work.